तस्मै श्री च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव.
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Mundakopanishad. We are in the middle of mantra 1, 2, 9 and 10. Yes, so they kind of go together, and we have done 9 in terms of looking at the meanings, etc. But they go together with 10, so we'll be seeing both of them together. अविद्यायां बहुधा वर्तमानाः वयं कृतार्थाः इति अभिमन्यन्ति बालाः यत्कर्मिणो न प्रवेदयन्ति रागात् तेनातुराः क्षीणलोकाक्षवन्ते इष्टापूर्तं मन्यमाना वरिष्ठं नान्यच्छ्रेयो वेदयन्ते प्रमूढाः नाकस्य पृष्ठे ते सुकृते नु भूत्वा imam lokam heenataram va vishanti. This one we have seen. And the people swimming in avidya. What kind of avidya? Atma avidya. No other kind matters here. Because they are thinking vayam kritarthaha. We are already very accomplished. We don't have any problems. We don't need your advice to lead our lives. Don't tell us what to do. We are already okay. Why? Because right now these wonderful planetary dashas are running, and there is what is that? There is the um, wonderful planetary dashas are running, and the bank balance is okay. There is comfort. There is everything. So things are going our way. We don't need your interference in our lives. Let us lead however we want, and we are already, fulfilled. We are blessed. We don't need you. Why do we need you? And so this is the feeling, and this we have seen. One has seen this, and then one has experienced this, that when the going is good, then one feels on top of the world, and one feels vayam kritarthaha. Kritarthaha means we have accomplished whatever we wanted to do in this life. This is a ersatz feeling, a false feeling. That is not true. That's just true in the moment. That is the feeling. And then, but really, underneath the word kritarthaha here comes aturaha, right underneath. Aturaha means restless and afflicted. So that the reality of this feeling that we are riding the wave of accomplishments is actually underneath that is the the reality of being embroiled and enmeshed in samsara, because in order to ride that wave, all that it takes for everything to be in a certain alignment is a lot of work to push all the enemies and people who are inimical away, and to keep the people, to keep the competition at bay, and to have some of your own people around. All this is a lot of work. And then that is the reason why they are aturaha. We saw aturaha means afflicted by samsara, and they don't understand, they don't know that because of the whole list, a gamut of things to be accomplished. Kshinaha means they are miserable people, miserable and unfulfilled people who cannot even be taught. Why? Because they think we know. See, if you two kinds of people cannot be taught. If you don't know that you don't know, then also you cannot be taught. And if you don't know but you think you know, then also you cannot be taught. This is the problem. And that's why Kshinaha Lokaha Kshavante. So they don't, they go, they may drop the body. Once they drop the body, they may go to heaven, etc., and other lokas. But then from there also they are dismissed and they fall. The fall here is not like the biblical fall from grace, fall from heaven. That's not what is being talked about. Because heaven in our Shastra is always impermanent, it's not permanent. And so you just go there for a holiday. And when you go there for a holiday, what happens? You come back. When the when the money is done, you come back. When it's time to join work again, you come back. That's what happens. You can't permanently stay there. Even though you feel, oh, I don't want to ever leave. That's just a feeling. That this is what happens. Like you go to some exotic place, like what, Bahamas, very nice, wonderful, and that the ashram there is also beautiful. It's just the sea is kissing the feet of the ashram. It's right there. You just step out of the ashram, there is the beach, and you think, oh, and I can just walk every day. I can just live here forever. But then, if you make that decision and live there forever, very soon the novelty wears off. The novelty wears off, and then that's why it's called beach, because beach mein acha lagta hai, means in the middle beach, or in Hindi means in the middle. Sometimes it is good, it is nice, and then not all the time. So if everything is all the time, then the novelty wears off. And right in front of the beach, all the miseries that one was carrying can come and haunt one, if that is not recognized. And here we are talking of the people that they are not doing, or they are not interested in doing the inner work that it takes to keep oneself free of sorrow and fear by leading a committed lifestyle, committed to spirituality, committed to inner growth. And since that inner housekeeping is not done, then what happens? They go to heaven, and as soon as they think, I want a green card in heaven, and then they are not even allowed to apply, because nobody has a permanent residency in heaven, and they are booted out. They are booted out to imam lokam heenataram va vishanti. The next one says, where will they go when they are booted out? Imam lokam. They come back to this loka, meaning martya loka, this loka that we know and don't love very much. This loka they come back to, or other loka. Heenataram means more inferior kinds of universes. Vishanti, they enter. And who are these people? The next verse is going to say, Ishtapurtam manyamana varishtham nanyachreyo vedayante pramudhaha nakasya prishthe te sukrute nubhutva imam lokam heenataram va vishanti. They are pramudhaha. Pramudhaha means prakarshena mudhaha, and means the fool of fools. Mudhanam mudhaha. And how do you decide who is the fool of fools? Pujya Swamiji had a very nice formula. He would say, take a sieve and put all the fools there, and then you shake the sieve. And then, most of the fools, fadar, they'll fall down. And then the ones that are remaining there are the fools of fools. He used to call them filtered fools. And so this is the pramudha. And then what do? They nakasya prishthe. Naka means heaven. Very interesting word. Nakam, heaven. Kam, Brahma. Kam means Brahman. Okay. And so Kam means Sukham. Because Brahman is the only source of Sukham, happiness. So Kam Brahma. Kam means Sukham. And then Akam means no Sukham. Correct? Yeah, because it's negated. Kam, sukham. Akam, no sukham. And then that is further negated. It's a double negation word. Na plus akam, na akam. So, not, not, double negative. So, not unhappy, not a place of unhappiness, means a place of happiness. Sukha. Which Nachiketa, which these worlds, these so-called heaven, etc., which are touted as permanent, but which are not, which Nachiketa, who was 8 years old when he went to Lord Yama, immediately found out. And when Lord Yama said, don't ask me for this knowledge, instead take heaven, and I'll give you wonders, I'll give you fantastic things, take this. And what did he say? Well, he says, I can see that the first advantage of heaven is natatratvam. You are not allowed there. The Lord of Death is not allowed in heaven. That is one advantage. Najaraya bibheti. We don't have to worry about old age, infirmity. You don't have core issues. You're always in a good mood, because that good mood is what is needed to enjoy all the musical delights that are offered, at least in the Vedic heaven. Other heavens also have some other, maybe there is food, maybe there is some comfortable situation, whatever it is, other concepts of heaven. But in the Vedic heaven, it's all dance and music. And so that is there. And so here, you are enjoying all these things, Nachiketa says. But he says, it's all for what? After a while, you come back into your clutches. We deliver ourselves repeatedly into your clutches. What is the use of this kind of a heaven? He had that much discrimination. He was a very wise little boy. And then, so here, the people who are only for Ishtapurtam. The word Ishta means two things. One is from the root verb ish, past participle, that which is desired. But that's not the meaning here. The meaning here is something else. Yaj. That yaj also becomes ishta in the past participle, and there it means that the worshipful karmas. Ishta karma. And then purta karma, ishta purte. So this purta karma means reaching out charitable actions. For most people's lives, this is the gamut of their activities, or some kind of a religious life. I mean, this is other than Hindu tradition. If you just look at most people's life, they go to church, they go to any kind of a worshipful place, synagogue, church, mosque, whatever it is, and then they have their rituals, they have their way of life, they have their lifestyle, and then that is one part of the life, and the other part is, they are basically wanting to help others in less fortunate circumstances than themselves. So every religion, advises giving to the needy, etc. And in In Christianity, there is this practice of tithing. Tithing means giving a tenth of your income. So like this, there is all this obligatory giving. There is also giving which is what one wants to give out of their heart. All this reaching out actions. And so this is the gamut of most people's life. I want things for myself, and then I just share a little bit with others. And then na anyat shreya, there is no other thing other than this. No inner work, no questioning this sorrow that is dogging one all the time. No questioning the incompleteness, no questioning anything else. And so, na anyat shreya. There is nothing more than this. Shreya here means moksha, but here shreya means nothing beyond this, nothing superior to this. And we know this, don't try to tell us. And then what happens? So they will bypass Vedanta. They will bypass all kinds of opportunities for learning. Nakasya prishthe te sukrute anubhutva. So they anubhutva means anubhuya. They having experienced the good deeds. Sukruta is good deeds, punya. Having experienced the punya, nakasya prishthe means on the on the peak of heaven, on the heavenly peak, sitting on the peak of heaven, on the heights of heaven, having experienced the good deeds, they come back to this world, or even something worse than this world. What can be worse than this world? Don't get me started. There are many kinds of alternative universes. And if you go to, and which is shared by Buddhists and Hindu people alike. If you go to Kandy in Sri Lanka, and from there you go to what is that called? Dambula caves. And in the Dambula caves, all the lokas are depicted in gory detail. And you have somebody hanging upside down on one leg while the other leg is being cut up by some evil looking ghouls. And then in some other place you have the head cut into two this way. Half the head is falling this side, half the head is falling this side. So all the lokas, all the various worse lokas than martya lokas, and all the difficulties and all the ways in which you can experience the effects of bad karma, papa, is depicted. It's kind of laughable, but then you see that there is a truth behind it. And so this is this is the lot of the people. Most of the people, this is where they are. There is no other there is no other life possible, because each thing they take to be permanent. Some people keep on studying all the time. So we have four ashramas in the four stages of life. They refuse to graduate. Some people keep on doing keep on studying. And somebody came to me and said, I'm just finishing my third PhD. And I had only one question. I said, why? And I said, why? And so most of the life gone. Most of the life gone. Each PhD, even if the one is very, very brilliant, you take, especially in America, you finish the coursework, then you have to write your dissertation, all these things, and then you take at least 5-6 years. 15 years, even if you are very brilliant. 15 years gone in 3 PhDs, and that's like a decade and a half of one's life. Very, very precious human life. And so I just had one question, why? And the person said, why not? I said, yes, indeed, why not? Because at this point, you don't argue with them. There is no point in arguing because they're doing what they're doing. Why put them in a bad mood by telling about Vedanta and human life and all these things and avidya and everything? And so you just say, okay, why not? Indeed. And so So like this, some people, so this is like a refusal. This example is like a refusal to graduate from the first ashrama, which is this Vedadhyayanam, Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means student life. So there is a time for that. And that's why it is the first stage of life. And you know why it is the first stage of life? Because at that time, one is compliant. The mind is compliant, the emotions are compliant, the unconscious hasn't started to come out and give and make the person dance. All the issues are still very deep, and the mind is in its prime, the brain is in its prime, activity. Very quickly the grahana shakti is there. You can reproduce the Vedic mantras. You have anuchana shakti. Anuchana shakti means the ability to grasp, retain, and give back. So there is mental acuity, and so at that time there is brahmacharya given, and one is able to be compliant with a lifestyle that is advocated with the student life. It's not just studies, but also other things. How to live, how to, like for example, after you are initiated into Vedic study, there are certain promises you make in front of the community who has come to see you being initiated. And what are the promises you make? You won't do certain things that during this rite of passage, like the father or the mother or the priest, they will give all these promises. Now, you will not sleep in the during the day. Badham, okay. The little child says, okay, I will not sleep during the day, and you will not. These certain things are not your lifestyle. Okay, these vows are taken because at that point in life you can do that. And then what? Then you have to graduate, and then the next stage in life is something to contribute. This is also like an impermanent stage. This is also not supposed to be permanent. Just like you cannot keep on doing 3 4 PhDs in life. What for? And even though you love studying. So that, just like that, you can't think that the grihastha, which is the second stage of life, is also not intended to be permanent. The first stage of life, of course, is like school and studies, and the second stage of life, called the married life. If the first stage of life is school, the second stage of life is what? College. Yeah. Grihastha is like college. From there also you have to graduate. You can't say, I love my sophomore year and I'm going to just be a sophomore. You can't say that. That itself is ridiculous. But look at what the world has come to. And look at what India has come to, the birthplace of this knowledge. One thinks grihastha means permanent. And the parents also teach that to the children, and because they learn it from their parents. Oh, married? Oh, wonderful. Married and settled. This is the idea. In fact, a very unsettling thing to say that. Married and settled. That's why the youngsters rebel by not getting married at all. This is how they rebel. So this is so this marriage is a huge thing in India. That is seen as the end point of life. After that, there is nothing else. Na anyat shreyah. This is exactly how they think. Nothing else is there. Married, settled. After that, you'll have your own children and everything. And the grandparents also continue to be in the grahastha life. And then what? First, then, so grandchildren are there. And of course, they are cute. And first, you tell yourself, I'm just going to help out. And then what? You don't ever extricate yourself from their lives. You keep continuing to lead your life, and then after your life is just done, you finish raising your family, then you insert yourself into their lives and continue to lead their lives vicariously. Refuse to graduate. This is a refusal to, launch. You're not launching yourself into that, into addressing that restlessness, the pain, the sorrow. You're not doing that at all. Continuing grihastha life. Because the idea is that, and it's a wrong idea, that this is the most important institution. These are the people that are going to be with me permanently. How is that possible? Sooner or later, everybody goes. Parents definitely will go one day or the other. And then the spouse will go one day or the other. Children will go one day or the other. Grandchildren will go one day or the other. This is the riti, the laws of life. So that separation will be there. And even though we are experiencing the separation all the time, the idea is, and this is a very wrong idea, that, oh, this is permanent. These are the relationships I have to nurture. These are what matters. you know. And what about Vedanta? It doesn't matter. Vedanta doesn't matter. I need a little bit here and there. Why do you need a little bit here and there? Because, I need a little housekeeping and cleaning. And so what will I do? I will just come and, attend something there. Or sometimes they won't even attend. I just want to come see you. Okay, why do you want to come see me? No, because I'll feel good. And so then how long in front of a Swami can you sit, and keep on gawking at the Swami? How long can you sit? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then they'll say, okay, thank you very much, I feel good. Until one doesn't feel good again. So the great error in our thinking is to think that this family life is the end. Is the end of the pursuit. There is nothing more than that. Sureshwaracharya has a very nice, verse in the Brihadaranyaka Vartika. Vartika is a kind of a commentary in verse. And he says, Viyogantaha sarve samyogaha. Samyogaha means coming together. All coming together is until the separation. Until goodbye. Every hello and every relationship that is forged is until it ends. Until it ends, either by God, by Bhagavan, by Yamaraja, or by separation. It will end. This is what it is. But yet there is so much premium put in reproducing and maintaining the relationships, and that is what is exhausting. It is exhausting. And it starts very innocently enough. Somebody is sick. Oh, so I'll take them some soup. Very nice idea. It's like a purta karma. You reach out. Somewhere at the back of the mind is the thought. Because next time when I am sick, perhaps they will bring me also some soup. And that is when one starts to get into the soup of samsara. This is what happens. And then it just increases, just keeps on increasing when the enmeshment, so many things. It just keeps on increasing and keeps on getting more and more and more complicated. Not less and less, more and more. And then even after the grandchildren are born, you think your duties are not done. And you keep inserting yourself, keep doing this. And then if there are no children or grandchildren, then what? Then there is so many other things to take care of. Both the spouses are workaholics. Keep on working, 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 working for what? I don't know. But keep on working, 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 working. If children, grandchildren are not in the picture, There is again this kind of a refusal to graduate out of Grihasthashram. And we have forgotten how. We have forgotten how to graduate. And then, that is a very big travesty. But there is a picture beyond this. There is an ashrama beyond this. So the college is the college is Grihasthashram. Oh, only 4 years? No, add a zero after it. 40 years, enough. After that, what? After that, you have to get out. Let's say you get married in your 20s, and then you put 40 more years. And then this is the time when you celebrate your 60th birthday. That is the time to graduate, around that time. Around that time, you have to become, you enter according to our lifestyle. The 4 ashramas, you enter the 3rd ashrama called Vanaprastha. And then the next verse is about what that looks like and what that is. Let us take a look. So, having described these mudhas who are not getting out of the grihastha who are refusing to graduate, these verses 9 and 10 are various ways in which people get stuck in the grihastha and in their ignorance, and they are refusing to come out of it. They are refusing to study Vedanta because they feel they already know, and then they are only heaven bound at the most. If they think of afterlife, it's only heaven. So, such are the people described. And in the true Upanishadic fashion, what is it that it takes to gain this knowledge? What kind of a lifestyle is conducive for this knowledge is described by not by talking about the lifestyle, but by talking about the people who inhabit this lifestyle. The ashrama is just a shell. It's the people who inhabit it, bring it, and make it alive. So, just like the verses 9 and 10 that we saw, they are there to talk about the people who are refusing to graduate out of the Grihastha life. But these people are upasakas. Upasakas means they are meditators. They want a calm life. They have really looked at what this is all about, and they are focused on study and clearing out their mind of the burden and the list of raga and dveshas. तपश्रद्धेये ह्युपवसन्त्यरण्ये शान्ता विद्वांसो भैक्षचर्याञ्चरन्तः सूर्यद्वारेण ते विरजाः प्रयान्ति यत्रामृतः स पुरुषो ह्यव्ययात्मा. So there, excuse me. So their activities are described at first. Tapas, religious austerities. Like what? Here, religious austerities does not mean worship. Why? Because upavasanti aranye. They have repaired to a forest, Vijana Pradesha. Vijana Pradesha means not heavily populated by people who are leading the opposite kind of life than the one that you want. Because otherwise, what will happen? Then, even if you want to lead a different kind of lifestyle, look at your surroundings. The influence of the environment is huge. Look at the surroundings. So your own resolve is going to be repeatedly shaken up. Naturally, your own resolve is going to be repeatedly shaken up because you want to have a quiet life, but then you're living in the middle of a square, in the middle of a busy square, in the busiest metro, like you're living in Manhattan. Okay, should be called Mad Hatton. So you're living in Manhattan. In Times Square, and then you say, "Oh, I'm not having the time for meditation." Yeah, that's why it's called Times Square. Ironic it is because there is no time for anything. Yeah, that's how it is. So living in the middle of Times Square, where there is just traffic going back, you look out the window and there is just traffic. You're in a small matchbox size apartment because that's what you can afford. And then you're living in a matchbox, and then you're looking out, and then there is zooming traffic, and then people are just so busy going here, going there. What kind of an environment is it? How can you meditate? How can you even think about where my life should go? How can you think of, oh, what kind of patterns might I be reproducing? And oh, maybe I think I should be a little more silent. Maybe I'm talking too much, and that's what is getting me into trouble. Or maybe I have to be more compassionate towards myself. I'm being hard on myself. These are ideas that come when there is some space. And of course, the Upanishad talks about inner space. That is really, really important to cultivate. And that inner space is cultivated by meditation. That inner space is cultivated by having a life of quietude. But like everything else in Vedanta, the two are intrinsically connected. Yatha iha tatha amutra. This is a very nice saying which is taken from the Chandogya Upanishad. Yatha iha, just as it is within. Iha, here, iha means here, and I'm stretching this metaphor to talk about how it is within, as without as it is within, as within, so it is without. This is how it is. So you know your own cultivation of the inner space and your own cultivation of this this temperament that is ready to assimilate this knowledge deeper and deeper is contingent upon the kind of surroundings in which you are. Not that the surroundings are everything. Like gave you the Bahamas example, it's not that you're there and then all the problems go away. No, the inner work is primary, definitely. But the outer situation also has a bearing. Outer situation has a bearing. You cannot deny that. That's why in India, when you go to visit a temple, especially ancient temples, they are a little far away from the city. They are on mountain tops. They are near the ocean, like the Suchindram, the very nice temple, Subramanyeshwara temple near the coast. Because in the or ancient times, the concept of holiday was not there at all. Either you visited your relatives or you went on a pilgrimage. And the pilgrimage itself was a holiday because when you were going on a 10-day pilgrimage, 21-day pilgrimage, whatever you could afford to do, take time off work and whatever you could do, then you would be in peaceful surroundings. And that itself would be an invitation for that inner, that yearning for that inner peace to be entertained. And being in the peaceful surroundings was enough of a propulsion for one to touch the truth of oneself as a peaceful being. That was enough. And then hopefully you carried it back to your back to your home, especially when you were in grihastha. You still have duties to perform, so you carry that inner peace back with yourself, which is your nidhi, which is your own treasure, which is your own truth. You carry that back to yourself, and then what? And then you go on with your life. And then after a little while, what happens? You need that recharge again. So again you go to an ashram, you go to some peaceful place, and then you recharge, and then you come back. until you are ready to graduate from Grihasthashram. Then what happens? Then the Upanishad talks about the people here. Upavasanti ye. Ye means those. Those who upavasanti, those who reside. Upa samipe vasanti. Those who reside near. Near what? Aranye. Near a forest or some other quiet place. Tapashraddhe ye hi upavasanti aranye. So in this quiet place, in the quiet place, that means what? I mean, even though it sounds wonderful, there are certain things that one one has to give up. One gives up. One gives up what? The hustle and bustle of the city. One gives up. One gives up the penchant for always doing something, the inability to sit still, that is very nicely watered by the busy lifestyle, committed to family, committed to work, committed to manufactured responsibilities. It's always that is what is watered all the time, and then that is what is nurtured, and then so one gives that up. One gives up certain things, and one might even give up some creature comfort, creature comforts. Like how? I like my coffee organic and I like it flown fresh. I like the coffee beans flown fresh from Central America. Why? Because I have Amazon.com. Well, in the Aranya, in the what's its name, forest, Amazon may not be delivering, even though it's called Amazon. I'm sure it doesn't have service in the Amazon forest. It doesn't have. It will not be delivering there, and one drone comes and drops it in front of your door. No, not a possibility. So you give up these kinds of things. I have to have this, otherwise my day will not start. So then, oh, but I have to eat, I have to eat. Yeah, look around, what is there? Look around. I mean, the local people are there, they're also eating, right? Yes. So you eat what they eat. No, but what about my gourmet? There is no gourmet. You give up certain kinds of things. That is the idea. Without giving up, you don't get this kind of what is that? That which you're really craving, and that craving for that inner life, the craving for the happiness, the craving for spiritual growth, the craving for moksha it has been suppressed from time immemorial. And then instead, I mean, it cannot be suppressed. So instead, what leaks out is this craving that is morphed into the craving for Central American coffee or some other kind of, Indian pickles, so many things. And then this is what it is there. Have to have Indian pickles sent. And then after the pandemic, things have become very strict, and you can't send this, you can't send that, all these things. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then so like this false cravings. These are all false cravings. They're not real. When those outlets are stopped, then the real craving comes out. The real craving is to not have any craving at all, is to stop craving, stop being a wanting person. That is the real craving. That is moksha. That is the definition of moksha. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. I am happy being myself, and I don't need anything from outside to make me happy. That is the thing. So you give up a few of these things, and then what? Tapashraddhe. So Shraddha here means the attitude of reverence, devotion. You see Ishvara everywhere, and you are leading not a religious life, but you're leading a spiritual life. Certain obligatory duties are handed down to the children or offspring. So certain things are handed down. And the first thing that is handed down is in the ancient times was the fire. You don't have to keep up the fire anymore. That fire in which you've been offering Agnihotra and other rituals, that is given as soon as the children are married. Here, please take care of this. And the modern version is the puja room, where every morning and every evening you have to do this, you have to do this. That is handed over to the children. Oh, the children don't want it. Okay, do something else with it. Give it to somebody who wants it. Somebody or the other will be wanting it. Give it to somebody who wants it. And so that those obligatory duties, religious obligations, are handed out. Once that they are given away, then one can graduate to a spiritual life, where the inner sweeping and the inner clearing is taking place to have darshan of Bhagavan within. If the antahkarana is a thick forest of all kinds of desires and creepers of wants taking over, and all kinds of thorny regrets, thorny underbrush of regrets, pains, hurts that are pricking, even though Bhagavan is sitting right there, there will be no darshan. So that clearing of this underbrush requires patience and requires a very committed lifestyle which has to be taken seriously. Like, for example, we cannot say, oh, right now there are no forests, so how can I go to the forest? No, forest means you get to the place where you are in a calm, surroundings. That's what forest is. Forest doesn't mean you literally go to the forest and you make you lead a quiet life, you downsize. So tapaha shraddhe, they perform tapas, religious austerities, and here we can, spiritual austerities like fasting, meditation, all these things with shraddha, and they have reverence for the knowledge, and they live in a quiet place, and then they are and naturally they have inner quietude because they have paired off, cut off all the dependency. They have cut off the dependency that is there in the grihastha or dependency on children to fulfill your desires vicariously, dependency on grandchildren, dependency on even spouse. The spouse are supposed to live like friends in this ashram. They are there together still, but they are living like friends. And that emotional dependency, physical dependency, what is that? Money dependency, financial dependency is all slowly tapered down, wound up. And then these are called Vidvamsaha. They are already learned. See, the Upanishad is so beautiful. It's describing them as learned. How come they are still yet to study Vedanta? But yes, but they are learned in the sense now that they are committed to the study, that means they will become Vidvans. This is the Upanishad's promise. You will become a Jnani. And then, and what is your lifestyle? You eat whatever comes, whatever can be sourced locally. You can take that in the modern times. In the ancient times, when you go for vanaprastha, you don't keep a kitchen. No kitchen in vanaprastha. Oh, no kitchen. How am I going to eat? Bhaikshacharyaam charantah. You go and beg for your food, and then whatever comes, you eat. Don't say, today you haven't given dessert. Yeah. And no such thing. Today there is no sweet in the meal. Doesn't matter. Whatever comes, you eat. And so bhikshacharyan charantah. So you see, there is a very important connection between bhiksha and moksha. What is the connection? Both of them and in ksha. That is the connection. That is one connection. Bhiksha and moksha. But on a deeper level, bhiksha means, it's the metaphor for taking whatever comes. Taking whatever life has to give. That is the idea. And you start with food, which is very, very primal. Very difficult to have food issues if one has this attitude. That everything comes from Bhagavan, and whatever comes, I'm going to take. And if this is the attitude, then very difficult to have food addictions, etc., or eating what are they called, eating disorders. The eating disorders, food issues come from thinking of food as filling my pains and sorrows. Food is used as literally as a filler. And since one is free to eat whatever one wants, whenever one wants, that is why there is in America and many Western countries a big food addiction issue, even among children. But here, for the ones who are committed to a spiritual lifestyle, the attitude of bhiksha goes a long way in developing the inner growth, in developing this inner growth. Why? How? Because you are ready to take whatever comes. Whatever comes, you eat. And whatever comes, you are there in right relationship. And since the food is so primal, and the deprivation of food brings out all other issues, emotional issues. So here you let go of that main thing. And then you have a free relationship with food, and that translates in the mind as a freedom to accept whatever Bhagavan gives in life. So this is how they live. And this is how they die. And then their death is described in the next line. Surya Dwarena te virajaha. Virajaha means, from whom the rajas has departed, from whom all rajas has departed, from whom all grabbing has departed, from whom all restlessness, anger, wanting, and this dependency on raga, dvesha, people to make them happy has departed. Such people, prayanti, once they drop the body, the sukshma sharira goes through what is called the solar path, Surya Dwara. Go through the solar path means there are two gatis, two kinds of paths that are described. One is the lunar path, one is the solar path. Solar path means that there is a what is that, there is the um, uh, there is a longer stay in heaven, etc. That's all it is. Not that you get moksha going through solar path. That is not the correct idea, because that is what a lot of people think. A lot of people think, oh, if you die during the Uttarayana, that is from January 14th after Sankranti to June, end of June. Of course, you cannot engineer your death at that time unless you are Bhishma. Then you can do that. You have some siddhis and powers. So one cannot engineer the death. And then that doesn't mean people who die from January to June in the first half of the year are going to get moksha. No. That's not the idea. The solar path, lunar path need not go along with these times, even though there is a connection that is made astrologically and in the Puranas, Veda, etc. But solar path means those who have led a blemishless life. They have really focused on their internal growth and led a simple life, and they go through their afterlife is also easy. And what happens? Te prayanti. Te prayanti. Yatra. Where do they go? Yatra, where amritaha sa purushaha hi avyayatma. They go to Brahmaloka. That is the belief. So the Brahmaloka, Purushaha means here Lord Brahmaji in the form of Bhagavan, Amritaha, the one that is not subject death, Avyayaha, the unchanging Purusha, which is really themselves. They go and greet that being, that Bhagavan, from whom they can study, from whom they can learn. That is the idea. It's not that, they just, it's not that they go there and stay forever. This is again a relative. This is again a relative passage, not some kind of an eternity after death that is described. Eternity cannot come after death. Because if it comes after death, then it is not eternal. It is finite because it has a location, it has a time frame. Eternal means it shouldn't have a particular time. It shouldn't have a particular location. Then only you call it eternal. So eternity cannot come after death. Therefore, heaven cannot be eternal if it is outside of you. If it does not include you, nothing, no place, no time, no person that is described can be called eternal. Eternity has to include you, first condition. And second condition, eternity cannot be created. It has to be uncreated. It has to already be an existent fact. That is what is called Sat. And it should be Anantam. It should be a never ending existence. And it should be all knowledge because it should include you. All knowledge means it has to be sentient. It has to be in the form of consciousness, which is you. Otherwise, it is not eternal. It's a spoof. And so here, again, these people who are living in the forest, who have done a lot to shine that, light of activity, shine that light of, going, coming, transaction within. They have done a lot to make this U-turn, to focus on themselves. For them also, if they just focus on the lifestyle and if they are not studying, if they are not actively pursuing Vedanta, this is their end. They go somewhere and meet Bhagavan, greet Bhagavan, and take a selfie with Bhagavan. That's all. You take a selfie with Indra. Alas, you can't bring it back. Just like you can't bring back dream lottery ticket money and put a down payment on a house in the waking state. Just like you can't do that. You can't bring back the selfie with which you took, you took with Indra. Well, what happens to it? It self-destructs. That's why it is called selfie. It self-destructs. And so what can you bring back? Only the self, this jiva. The jiva comes back. Repeatedly, the jiva alone comes back. Nothing else comes back. And then so even this, even the people who have done so much work on themselves and they have done all the right things, if they don't gain this knowledge in this life, they will just go and they will be welcomed. All their good karmas in the form of various devatas will welcome them, shower rose water and rose petals on them, welcome them, and then what? And then and then it will be business as usual. They'll have a good time in heaven, perhaps a longer stay, perhaps a bigger bungalow, and they too will come back. And this is something that is also reiterated in the Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter. Arjuna asks a question, very interesting question. It's like when you go to the doctor and say some kind of a complaint that you are embarrassed. So you say, my friend, in India, this is common. My friend has this. So can you please suggest something? My friend has this terrible disease, some skin disease or something that is embarrassing. My friend has this. And the doctor knows. I mean, the person also knows it's not the friend. The doctor also knows. The doctor says, oh, tell your friend to do this. Tell your friend to come and see me. And so here Arjuna asks on behalf of somebody. Ayatihi shraddhayopetah vedat chalitamanasah kangatim krishna gacchati chinnabhramiva nashyati kim. So he says, I have a friend. What? Lot of Shraddha. Shraddhaya upetah. Lot of Shraddha this friend has. But Ayatihi, little lazy, doesn't study Vedanta regularly, has not made the effort. And then what? Died off. What happens? Yoga chalita manasah means yoga bhrashtha means the one who has got derailed from Vedanta for some reason or the other. A dropout. Is not able to study on a regular basis. because of other interferences. What is the interference? The interference is, from life and from not being able to handle the stresses, etc. Too much grihastha all these things. And those are the stressors. And then so unable to graduate, unable to launch. And so what will happen to such a person? Will all, at least the few Vedanta classes that have studied, no, not me, my friend has studied, because up till 6th chapter, he too has listened. And what will happen? Will all this knowledge be destroyed? Will my efforts go to waste? Chinnabhram. Chinnabhram means like the fog that dissipates when the sun comes. Will my efforts, will the few Vedanta classes that I took, will it all go away? And then Lord Krishna responds, no. शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टोऽभिजायते अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम्. Such a person is born to in a conducive situation for this study in the next life. So please know that if you are able to take the classes now, that means from the last life you are carrying on the torch of Vedanta. That is very beautiful to see it this way as a continuation. And so, and even Pujya Swamiji used to tell that when he started to study Mundakopanishad, he felt like he had studied it before. He could anticipate what verse would come next, and he was surprised. And so, like this, it's all a continuation. Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan, was able to be what he was because he had done all the karma yoga and adhyayana in the last life. Some Shesha karma was there. I'll just take one more minute to conclude a little later today. So some Shesha karma was there, and that is what was being expressed through his birth, through his body-mind complex. So then, Paurva Dehikam, Lord Krishna says, he or she in the new life will pick up the thread. Human life will pick up the thread, and then will be then able to study, and will be then able to complete the quest. And in closing, I want to share a small story of a crocodile that just died in the big temple in Tiruvananthapuram in South India. And this crocodile was called Babiya. And this crocodile was given the last rites by the temple priests of that is given to a sannyasi. It was renamed Crocodile Nanda, Babiya Nanda perhaps, because that crocodile had resided there for more than 40 years and had not harmed a single being. It used to live with the fishes, it never ate the fish, apparently. And then it used to come to the temple door and eat rice, jaggery, and whatever else, the pongal, all these khichdi the temple used to make. It only subsisted on that. And that was the belief. And then what is that? So when it died, it was buried like a sannyasi is buried. So like this, definitely it will have a human life next time. And then, equipped with this kind of a background of already having lived a life of ahimsa, it will pick up the thread. That is the idea. Very beautiful. And we will continue in the 2 weeks later. What is that, 30th of October? Yeah, that is when it will be. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.